Welcome in. MJ38 show, episode number 10. 10.5. I'll throw it on there already. Welcome in. The waters are extra warm today. Extra warm waters. We're coming in. We're coming in nice and warmed up. I'll tell you what, brethren.
I'm vibing. I've been vibing.
We're vibing. We're vibrating. Vibrate with us. We're going upwards.
Where's my trajectory? Up.
Like a kite right now. Just.
Justin is referencing a 0.5, and you might be wondering, 10.5? What? This would be 10.
Yeah.
What's the 0.5 for?
Tell them. What's it for? What could it possibly mean?
So we recorded. Recorded's not the right word.
That's a lie.
We did a podcast. We podcasted for about an hour, would be my guess.
Hour and change for sure.
We podcasted for an hour, but unfortunately there was a technical issue that did not record all of that podcast, even though it was
Golden.
or whatever.
Golden.
It felt gold.
Pony boy. Midas touch.
I'll tell you what, whenever I looked at the computer and it wasn't recording, it felt like I lost gold.
Yeah.
My gold! My gold?
You open your bank account. You're like, what happened? What happened?
We were doing so well.
How much did I tip? Jesus, God. The amount is not there that you suspected, that you truly believed was going to be there, was not there. So that was just a little storage issue, technical issues. But either way, we're coming back in, right back on.
Why did that sting? Let's get in there. Why did that sting a little bit?
Because it's a whole block of time. We thought it was work, and we thought it was good too. We thought it was a good product.
The gold.
We were making
screaming.
our product in our craft, and we constructed what we thought to be a good product in our craft.
It had a couple moments where I was like, "That's what I'm looking for, kid."
That's some good stuff.
Yeah,
Good talk, good words, good word choices. Way to use words well, kid.
You were so right. Way to get in there.
Damn
way
it,
to talk
man.
about. Way to use your mouth, because you have thoughts. Way to use your mouth to get your thoughts to get deeper than they could have been if you weren't communicating. Like we turned new stones together.
We were turning stones. But welcome in. So
Welcome.
the waters are extra warm for you.
For you.
Especially for you. So keep going. Whatever you're doing, we believe in you.
And we
And
fully
we appreciate
intend on,
you.
Oh yeah. I love you. I love you.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
awesome.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
Thank you for rocking with us. If you're rocking with us, like for real, thank you. It means a lot to me. I can't even express it to you. Can't even express to you enough. Thank
To
you.
both of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Hopefully your day's going well.
what I was expressing was,
Ending well.
before that, I definitely fully intend on touching on all the things that we touched on. So, you guys don't lose any of that.
Some of the highlights that are fresh in our mind.
Yeah, hopefully it'll just be nice. We'll brush on the things that we talked about and then just get more content out of the episode. Hopefully it's better for you as a viewer.
We keep it moving. One of the things we're talking about was humility, or was there anything particular you wanted to bring up first?
Well, one of the points we hit was daylight savings is bullshit.
Daylight savings is kind of a whole bullshitting thing. Oh, and I remember, I guess we got to start off this new pod because we got to talk about our illusions in the past episode. Episode 9, we ended it with kind of saying there was going to be some stuff about episode 7, because episode 7 is about the female stuffs.
Yes,
But
we're reliving the illusion.
yeah, I definitely have to at least bring that up right
Yeah,
now.
no, I'm
if
with
people
you.
came here looking for that.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yes.
it definitely ended with
If you're
that
here,
last time.
we will touch on that.
Yes, we're going to touch on that for sure.
Yes.
But was there anything particular that you wanted to bring up from the last
May the
episode?
4th be with you.
May the 4th it be with you.
Star Wars is so good,
Star Wars is in there for everyone, everywhere, always.
especially with the revamp on Disney Plus.
One of my...
I haven't dwelled into that, but
There's a revamp of what do you mean?
they've got like animated and just like TV versions of shows, like featuring like other people in the like universe of Star Wars. You've got like a Boba Fett TV show on Disney Plus, and there's like
The Mandalorian?
The Mandalorian, yes, but there's like I think there's like at least 2 more Mandalorian-esque shows.
Animated, you said?
I think maybe some of them are animated, but I think at least one more of those shows is not animated. Like it's a
Okay.
whole shot show,
Uh-huh.
and though that universe is like expanding in the realm of like being TV shows as well as like I think they're doing more movies too.
Mm-hmm. Golly. The revamping Harry Potter.
I get it, but may the 4th be with you. That's what I wanted to say.
Make some new shit. But yes, may the fourth be with you. And we were talking about daylight savings time. That was one of the things we brushed on a little bit. There's was it Arizona and Hawaii? Arizona and Hawaii do not abide by daylight savings time.
They don't. They just say no.
California is trying to get out of it too. They had a proposition to get out of it with a almost 60% acceptance rate to stop daylight savings time. And it didn't get passed, I guess, for whatever reason. But yeah, they're trying to get out.
It got passed but not implemented.
Time around, just whipping that ass.
Yeah,
throwing time like nothing.
One of my favorite points in this argument is that I like being in charge of time. I don't like time being in charge of me. So I like that twice a year we say, actually, time, we're now doing it this way. And then now we want it this way, so we're going to push you this way. Just because, like, you know, I feel like as a culture, that autonomy is appreciable. It kind of opens up your mind. I remember being a kid and be like, we can just, like, fucking... If everyone in the room wants an extra hour here, all of us can agree to do that? That's kind of crazy, right?
Mm-hmm. Very, very much so.
I thought so as a kid. I was like,
very
whoa.
Weird.
Yeah. Because time, right? Like, you just think you're like on the clock, more or less.
Like, move the boundaries of like our existence. Just like move that thing.
Yeah. That was the Jedi in me. But yeah, so
yeah, young Jedi, young Padawan.
I was like, oh, time, fuck.
Oh.
The plot thickens or something like that. Yeah, kind of.
Uh-huh.
So, but then I feel like the argument right now, currently in culture, is with
younger generations,
millennials, quote unquote. But then we talked about how we're millennials.
Yes,
that was another subset of the podcast that we lost.
Yes, the 0.5.
But it's cool. That one's gone. The important part is the 50-year-olds and the 20-year-olds both agree that daylight savings is kind of lame. Which means I think it's going to go away soon. I think that's indicated in California, obviously. We did the research.
It's already kind of coming.
Yeah. I think it might get tossed in the next year or two. It's already, yeah. So.
Who knows? Yeah, in the next couple of years for sure. Like 10 years down the road or like 20 years. They're like, what the fuck is daylight? Like, what? They did what? Bro? The farmers.
I think it's kind of silly because we also talked about what a beautiful moment it is. I'm sorry, you had a beautiful story. Because half the year we lose an hour and everyone's like, fuck this. Who are you to tell me that I can't? I worked 45 hours this week. You want to take one?
I'm going to sleep at the same time and I'm going to have to wake up an hour earlier. For who? For who?
For big government. Big government says
Uncle
pay
Sam?
up. Yes.
Asshole.
It's a savings account. This day is a savings account because nobody complains when we get an extra hour to sleep. In the fall, let's fall back. Let me rest up a little bit.
Get ready for the holidays.
You know what I'm talking about. It's cold. That bed's warm. We love it.
Love it.
And you even had a story about when...
I went to a wedding.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to a wedding and it was on the day where the hour fell back. And like sometime in, I guess, what is that? October? November? Sometime around there?
I don't know.
Sometime around there. Whenever the hour falls back again.
You know.
That's when the wedding was. It just so happened to be on that day. I'm not sure if they planned that. But it was super nice. Super nice at the after party of the wedding to be rewarded with an extra hour of like, oh man, it's won something. It's about to be, and then like it doesn't go past. I guess I think it actually works. I think in America, whenever it goes to the West Coast, so whenever California experiences midnight, I guess it goes back to midnight instead of going to 1 a.m.
Okay,
something like that.
Yeah, because for us it's like 2 a.m.
3 a.m. Yeah, or like instead of going from 2:59 to 3 o'clock, it goes from 2:59 to 2 o'clock.
Is that what it is?
I think we redo 2 o'clock. I think I'm pretty sure, but something like that.
I've been in the bar that night. I've been in the bar.
Yeah. I think I was with you that night as well.
Let's go.
In San Marcos.
The best memories, bro. Yeah, and I think
San Marcos. Yeah.
Is that right? My brain is painting Green Lantern because that's where I've been drinking lately when I drink. Okay. But I'm pretty sure. Did it happen in San Marcos?
Maybe back in our day.
Because I know that it was like 1:58, 1:59, and then the bar like didn't close, and I was like, "Are they gonna kick us out?" And then it was like,
"Oh yeah, I think that's probably it again. We probably redo 1 o'clock."
Right? Yeah, and then it's just like, "Oh shit, they cannot! You cannot kick me out! I'm still in this bitch, dog." That's drunk.
We still in this bitch. We still in this bitch.
That's me for sure.
B.O.B. baby.
On the square.
Yeah.
Circa, 2017 or whatever the fuck.
Somewhere in that ballpark. So, but yeah. That's the whole thing we're talking about, daylight savings time, that wedding story. Little, so it's nice to get that extra hour back in the fall. But it's kind of weird that we kind of throw that time around anyway. And some places are already like, nah, I'm good. We're not going to do that.
Hawaii
And we're
makes
okay
sense
with
to
them
me to
not
some
doing
degree.
that.
I don't know why. It's because they're not attached to us. It's like, I don't know, having different rules for your stepbrother or
Hawaii
something
really-
like that. I'm just kidding.
They really are like a different. They're a whole ass island. Yeah, like what the hell?
Yeah, and I think they appreciate kind of like living in their own culture, outside of like American culture per
Leave them
se.
be. Leave them be.
Yeah, I
They're
think-
beautiful people.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
I've never been, but
I've never been. I'm just, but like,
I can't speak on that 100%.
no, but Arizona's the
Beautiful
one
place.
that's kind of like Arizona. You're just like in the
Arizona.
middle of the United States, and you're
Welcome.
like,
Not around here.
we're not budging. We're not. Don't reset that clock. Stop. Stop. You're gonna be late.
Not here. Not here.
Fucking sound. Yes,
I wonder
thank
if
you.
that's are the people who work in Arizona but like don't live in Arizona, or is that like ever a complication in life for people?
When you like, let's say someone has to drive to Arizona for their job, but they live outside of Arizona.
What about flights? What about flights to and from and through Arizona during daylight savings, and they're off an hour?
I'm sure they've got it figured
What
out.
the fuck?
I'm sure
If I go on a flight right now to Arizona, what's gonna happen to me?
you turn into a Lost episode.
Yeah, you lose an hour of your life. Where'd that hour go?
It just goes into a savings account and you just put
Okay.
it away.
Okay.
I want to make frequent trips so at the end of my life maybe I can have like an extra 6 hours or something, or I don't fucking know.
I'm not a mathematician.
I'm not. I don't. But
I don't know any of the things.
it seems arbitrary and strange. If we were on one timeline for time, that would never happen.
Mm. Interesting.
It's,
Throwing that shit around.
maybe they're the. It's funny how
Yeah. Yeah. It's I think I also
we make them out to be crazy, but they're.
who are Arizona.
We're like, what are you doing? It's like the right thing.
Like, those are some arbitrary rules that were made back in the who knows what
For farmers.
for farmers. Fairly certain.
They were the backbone of America, I feel like.
Backbone of society.
Yeah.
Respect to farmers, man. I don't know if that's a life.
Can
if
I
I
bring
had
some?
to live it, what's up?
Go ahead, please.
Oh, I was gonna say if I had to live that life, I'm sure I could, but I don't think I want to, particularly.
Humbling work, right?
So shout out farmers.
My grandfather was a farmer.
Let's go. Shout out.
You want to hear something about
Grandpa.
farmer life?
Yeah.
Farms in the America? What was the backbone potentially of America at one point in time?
Yeah.
So one thing that happens with farms is there's like a death tax. So if someone's gonna like inherit a farm, they have to like pay a very large like tax on like what that estate is valued at, even though it's like a functioning farm. So the thing about a functioning farm is like you make the money off of what the profit would be from your investment of like the animals giving birth and having more animals to sell, or like your plant harvest.
Uh-huh.
So like if you built this farm and it takes this much money to sustain that farm, and you make like annually like $100,000 a year, right?
Uh-huh.
That's like what you make. But like the economy goes up in price every year, everything gets more expensive. And then like if for instance, when my grandfather passed away and then like my father inherited it, there was like a massive tax based on like how much you would value paying for all of that shit on that farm, basically all that land and all of the like what it's worth. And then the only way
Why? We're so sorry for your loss. I'll take the check
what's-
I'll take the check when you're ready.
what's this?
Your bill.
For
Your death.
you're gonna
We're
what if
taxing
I don't want
We're taxing you.
what if I don't want the I guess
What?
I need I guess I need the I did eat the meal. Fuck. Yes. So imagine in the
That's so
1950s
fucked.
and 60s, all the farms in America like that were privately owned, like all of them were like they weren't corporate farms yet, like Tyson and shit.
Mhm.
Like they were owned by like fucking hardworking Americans. And then when that person that owns that shit dies and they pass it down in their family, they have to pay like most of the time. Like the story in American lore is it's so much money that they have to sell off part of the farm to like keep the rest of the farm. So then the farm
What
makes less money forever.
the hell?
Yeah, so the government owns like a ton of the farmland in America from like, you know what I'm saying?
Why and when was this established? This sounds kind of fucky.
I don't know, man.
Who's sitting in the room where that legislation is being proposed, and they're like, you know what? Let's tax these motherfuckers. After their people die, let's tax them.
Because it's too much power.
I guess you have to control the food supply
Of America,
Yeah,
right? Like if
yeah.
it was family owned, like Ozarks-esque, like the way the poppy seed farm was kind of family owned, like one person could just have a lot of power. They're like, I have provide all the cucumbers in the Western Hemisphere, right here out of Illinois.
All the plums you could ever want.
Yeah.
You could ever see.
Yes.
Drown in our plums.
The Tommy Shelby of plums, dude. Fucking for real, or something like that. I don't know, but the government definitely was. If it wasn't intended to disrupt that potential bracket, it did disrupt that potential bracket. But it also affected
What other businesses is this like? In what other inherited businesses is this also a death tax? Is it not, or is it solely like for farmers?
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't want to lie to you.
But that question is like valid. You know.
Right.
What the hell else? I'm trying to give. If I have a business, I want to give it to my children. What the hell? If I have an automobile shop, why can't I give my automobile shop when I die to my son?
Right. And most of the time,
Are they going to tax me?
Probably.
Fucking bastards.
It's fucking lame, right? But also, I guarantee now there's probably enough like lawyers and ways to like work around that if you're wealthy enough. But I think it was like these were like blue collar Americans that own these farms, and they also their whole family probably worked them most of the time.
Don't have it set up as like an LLC.
Right. So
Whatever.
Right, they don't have like someone working on the loopholes. I mean, probably nowadays, yes, but not in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then that really impacted a lot of like families and stuff. And now we're in a place where it's not a lot of huge family owned farms in America anymore that like supply all the food here, which is a fucking like issue because it would be nice if we were a self sufficient country that like just grew all of its shit here and could like supply the country and shit like that.
It'd be cool to have your own farm.
That's farmer talk for you. I don't know
Farm
too much.
talk.
I'm about to get out of my
Farmers
bag.
only.
I need to get off because I'm pretty much at the end of my rope with how much stuff I know about farms.
Yeah, that's it. The death tax is kind of lame though. That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy thing.
Unfortunate. If I have a business and I'm trying to pass it to my heir, what the hell? Don't be taxing me.
I heard that when the politics was started, this was Brett Weinstein, I think I heard this on a podcast. He said that it was like the Republicans represented business, but it wasn't really business. It was like big business. It was like Johnson & Johnson. It was like the biggest top 5% companies that were running the stock market when it crashed in the 20s. And then when it revamped, like that was Republicans. And they were interested in raising business. And then the Democrats were like supposed to be in the fighting for like the everyday person, like the blue collar person.
Okay.
Or just like regular people basically versus like capitalists, like business Republican, like white collar suited people, I guess was the frame of reference early on.
Yeah. Talked about that in like Thomas Shelby times.
Right. Okay. And then also like disenfranchised people too. Like I feel like throughout all that time, like black people were super disenfranchised and like had like less opportunity than everybody else. But then like the Democratic Party was supposed to be like there for them. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously that's true. I was just trying to figure out how to phrase it.
Of course.
So like that was but then it became the Democrats were more about small business. Like instead of being about people, it became about business. But then the Republicans were still about that top 5% of business. So then they became about the 95% of business. And that became the stack of the politics was the businesses just being politics. So when we talk about like family owned farms, it like just makes sense that like business eventually was trying to like racket and weed that out. Unless you trust the government, which I mean like you could, but like they've been doing that like forever, you know? So
yeah, God knows.
But yeah, that play's small. I'm not. That's just some farmer awareness for you. That's farmer
talk.
That's just some farmer talk. I'm not fucking. My grandfather also played fucking football. He was in the Leatherhead League. Have you ever seen that movie with George Clooney?
For real? Like the back in football times whenever the helmets were not helmets?
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Let's go, baby. It's just rugby, more or less. It's just some rugby. And I think it's been maybe, I don't want to, I'm not sure how it's been proven, but I want to say that there's been scientific data backing that rugby maybe is more safe than football, potentially. The lack of pads increases a like more a leaning more towards kind of like just general safety with your body.
Yeah.
Versus whenever you have those pads on, you feel like you're indestructible.
Yeah,
You throw yourself at a wall.
I will. I'm gonna right here into your spirit.
Right here. Like prefrontal cortex, right in your dome, brother.
I'm gonna get to know you right now.
But talk to your ancestors real quick.
That's the state of mind when you're playing, like when you're on the kickoff team. Or there's moments. Not every moment in football is like that, but there are moments in
Whenever
football.
someone's about to go catch a punt, you know, I'm about to rock this man's world.
It's like I remember one time I was literally in that position, and like my brain
You're about
was
to hit him or about to be hit by him.
He was going like this. I've been in both.
Okay,
He
okay.
was like this though, and then the ball's going in the punt, and I'm like, he never called fair catch. He never.
I'm about to rock you, motherfucker.
And I was like, I still don't think I can hit him if he doesn't have the ball. And I'm like, my brain's like, looks.
And you're getting closer by the second.
Yes, I'm like 10 yards away.
Oh,
and I know
no.
that if I look up, I'm going to lose him. So I'm like, it's close enough. Just rattle this guy. For sure. And the ball came loose and I picked it up. It was tight.
Let's go.
It was tight, bro.
Did he have the ball and you hit him?
Yes, it was tight. Or like it was like it kind of like hit him in the shoulder. He was looking at me. So I was like, you should have fair catch, brother.
You fair caught it.
I'm sorry. I love to apologize when I'm like fucking
Sorry.
like Andrew Luck.
Oh my God.
I learned that from him, but yeah.
Yes.
Fucking doof. And then like it kind of like he was like ah! It like bounced off his shoulder pads. I wanted to.
You recovered it?
Oh yeah, I wanted to pick it up and keep running, but it was just like not there for me.
Scoop
like
and
that.
score, kid.
For sure.
Oh my gosh.
But I was really like not sure that I wasn't gonna get thrown out of the game for that because it just like the decision just
This feels wrong. I'm about to fuck this guy up. Like
it was like on the 50
this is
yard
cool.
line.
This is fair game. He didn't go fair catch.
He did not. He had an opportunity. It was yep. So, but I've also been on the
You've also
point.
been on the
So
reciprocal of that.
they kicked like it was like a moment to kick an onside kick, but they wanted to kick like what they call a pooch kick, which is where you just kick it like as high as you can, and then you hope that like your players get under the ball before the ball comes down. And like most of the time, because like onside kick is like such a low percentage play, but then in high school it's an even lower percentage play because like your kicker's not fucking good enough to make it. Like, NFL kickers are barely good enough to make it do the thing. You know what I'm saying? Where like roll, bounce.
This is a kickoff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like kickoff formation, there's like in high school football there was they use a pooch kick more sometimes than an onside kick because it's like higher success rate, especially if it's a windy day. So you just tell that motherfucker to kick as high as he can. So
Launch that hole.
they do that, and I'm like running to the ball. It's like in my section, and I'm like, all right, this is me all day. I look at those guys; they're coming. I look at the ref. I'm like,
There you go. That's how you avoid the prior situation. Continue.
make a very clear fair catch to everybody.
Okay.
And then I'm just like, at that point, I just start tracking the ball. And then I look, and I'm like, I see this guy. And he's
buddy.
running.
Your velocity is way too high.
Did you not see the fair catch? And then like, there's a point in my brain where I realized, oh, he's just going to rail me, just like I was gonna rail that guy, and I did. He's gonna did me right now. And I was like, well, I'm still catching this rock, that's for sure. And then, like, dude, at like I'm about to like have to like catch it, which is right when he's gonna hit me in my gut. My homie just obliterates him right in front of me. Like he's running full speed this way. My friend's just like,
oh God.
I remember just being like, oh my God. Catch that ball. Pick up my friend and then tell him I owe him a beer or whatever the equivalent of that is when you're fucking a senior in high school. I was like, dude, I think I might have died. We were all going to see my ancestors right there.
Saved you, brother.
So football.
I'm sure that was fun for him.
Yeah, but the other thing is we kind of...
That guy never saw him coming. That guy was just like, I'm going to rail this kid.
It was awesome. That guy skipped training camp, and I kind of was like, dog, that's not cool for like the first 6 or 7 games. And then he obliterated that guy. And I was like, or even in my book, dog. Happy you're on the team, dog.
You're top 5 in my book, kid. Instant top 5 in my book.
I love you, dog.
Yeah, you're my dog for real. I'm going to invite you to my wedding.
Clean Everett, if you're out there, bro. My dog.
What's his name?
Clay Navarrete.
Clayton.
Clay.
Oh, Clay.
Clay Navarrete.
Okay, let's go, Clay. Shout out, Clay.
That guy was solid.
Give my boy some blocks.
But I think rugby might be safer in that regard because the reason we were able to be 16, 17 years old and just
running full speed into another 130, 140 pound human.
like a bullet shot out of a revolver. How do you as a person do that? It's because you have all this safety gear on. You're like, it feels like you're in a padded. You're like, I'm okay.
I'll be all right. Yeah.
And
For sure. It definitely creates a false sense of security.
Right.
Yeah.
But
You're throwing yourself at motherfuckers.
in the Leatherhead days and at rugbies, they tackle differently. Like they've evolved tackling to deal with knees flying at your chin. Like they do it differently. They wrap you up in different places. Like we've evolved to just like slot gang shit, spearing people like barbarians. Like there's some defense,
savagery.
Yeah, if you look at the Troy Polamalu Steelers,
that's what they teach too. Like all throughout the football leagues, it's like kill.
They're trying to change. That's me as a coach.
That's like 90% of defensive coordinators.
Gentlemen, tonight we're about the bloodbath.
Murderers, all of us.
You see red. That's it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's crazy nowadays.
It is.
I think it's been like that for a minute.
Yeah, and also if you talk about like the Derek Wolf Denver Broncos, football's a whole thing. I think we're trying to as a culture be better than that. I think we're trying to be better than that as people.
We're getting safer. We're definitely developing better equipment and better methods and technology and protocols to deal with all this gigantic motherfuckingness that is gigantic people just running into people.
Yeah, Sean Payton had the bounty hits on people. The Saints head coach.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
Bountygate was a thing.
God.
Fucking yeah. They put together. I heard Mike Tomlin talking about they put together the NFL Player Safety Commission because of the 2000
those events in 2008, whatever.
Yeah, 2008, 2010, right? When they had the Steelers, the Iron Curtain Steelers.
Somewhere around after they won the championship or the Saints, right? Or I don't even remember.
Well, it was for the Steelers though.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because they were just destroying people.
Gang shit.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It's so bad that they were okay, this is not good for the sport of football. Troy Polamalu is they're concussing multiple people per game.
Oh my God.
They are vicious. And then it was people were like, oh, that's the best thing I've ever seen. I love Steeler football. Terrible tone.
This is the this is our Coliseum. This is our Roman gladiators.
Yeah.
Just going to battle. I think every football player kind of knows that going into it. It's kind of this is the Coliseum, kid. This is, we're about to go to, not war, but, it's supposed to be vicious out there.
It's not war quite, but I mean,
sweet. You gotta be good sportsmen at the end of the day.
There's a balance in it.
Crazy. But shout out your grandpa. Leatherhead League, football man.
Yeah.
Farm man. Farm talk.
He's also a horse raiser.
Horse raiser or horse racer?
Okay, he either was the jockey or he was the horse owner.
How tall is he?
I didn't meet him. I was a baby when he died.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah, but I think he was the jockey.
Really? So he's small.
Had to.
You gotta be tiny to be a jockey, yeah?
But it makes more sense
5'4"?
that he owned the horse because we lived on a farm. I don't want to just portray him as Tommy Shelby.
Okay.
Because I'm just not sure. One or the other though. I remember that he had medals and trophies and shit. And I was like, what is this for? They were like, for the horse races.
Horse raiser or horse racer? It's really a fine line. It's a fine line right there.
I'd have to call my dad. He would know.
That's really funny.
That's funny. Man, so yeah, whatever. It's farm talk.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was, we're talking about daylight savings on the last little potty, and we're talking about the encounter and the developments in episode 7 talk. In episode 7, if you haven't seen it, we're talking a little bit about relationships and that therefore is. And again, I'm going to say it right now because if you're looking for somebody, that's you, we're talking about, if that's you in that journey of looking for someone, you're out there and they're out there. Right now, both of you are breathing the same air, existing in the same place. Just know that. It's going to be okay. And that's it.
Heard.
On that guy, revving up your love engines.
Rev them up.
But there's been some love developments also in this young gentleman's life in the last week or so.
I went on a date, and we were talking about how,
Date's gonna go from chilling and vibing to an interview real quick. Almost interview / interrogation.
I did feel like I was on the hot seat. Like, like my seat got hot. I was like, oh, wow.
I'm uncomfortable.
Like, yeah.
You turn the AC on here?
Can I get another drink? Can I get another strawberry mocktail, please?
I need some more water.
Yeah, but like, so first of all, is that reasonable? Because we were vibing, we're chilling, we're in a little corner booth, you know what I'm saying? Trying to laugh and ha ha ha.
Dating. And this is like early on in the dating process.
Yeah, super early. We were chilling.
Third or fourth encounter.
Yeah, facts.
Formal date.
Yes.
Okay.
I was, yeah, for sure. So that's something low key, but something to just
going to a restaurant together.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's it. Formal date. Yeah,
that's tight.
That constitutes
Constitution.
Everyone would vote date.
Okay, fair enough. So yes, we're there with that, and especially So we're hanging out, we're having a good time, and then she's kind of like, hey, sit up for a second. And I was like, oh, yeah, what's up? And then she was like, so.
Could be so relaxed.
And she's like, so what? Like, starts asking me kind of like personal questions about my life and stuff like that, and like how I think and like how I feel about certain different like lifestyles and stuff like that.
Aspects of life.
Yeah, and I'm like, I love kicking life. I do this with you all the time. Like, I was down for it. I'm there for that. Super. Just down to have those conversations. I love that stuff.
100%.
And then she was kind of like, but I could also tell it was kind of like, these were like boxes that she had for herself that she was like kind of trying to like check off. She's like, I have like this constraint for like whom I would like want to be with. Like, do you meet that constraint? Like, how do you feel about this idea that I've like placed as an ideal? And then it was like, just kind of going down her list of things. And then she was like, do you consider yourself to be like a humble man? And I was like, yes. Well, like, I want to be hard like Kobe. I want to be Kobe Bryant crazy. And that there was like long periods in my life where like I was kind of the only person that had the vision for myself for who I wanted to be. And so like I needed to like be the person that believed in myself enough to like get through the gaps sometimes to where other people could like help me through childhood, like grow to the places I want to go to and throughout all of life. So like, I'm confident. Confidence is a good thing, right? Like all this is going through my head right now.
Yeah.
Like while I'm sitting in this booth, because I was in the hot seat. It was like I felt like I was playing great defense, coach. I was just rebounding, blocking out, doing everything he taught me. The game was going great. And all of a sudden, vicious crossover. Am I falling? Where am I going?
Oh no, my career.
And
unfortunately,
I think I started describing, I need to be confident to do like what I have to do, but I also want to be like disciplined and like work hard enough that like and then she's kind of like, I don't even mean like that. I don't even mean like, I mean like, do you consider yourself to be like a humble man? Like, have you lived like a humble life? Like, what do you appreciate in this world? Because like you dress like kind of flashy. Like, what does that play into you? Like, I'm asking if you're like down to earth, I guess, or like. It was just like a weird moment too, where we're having like a.
And this is also stemmed from because prior she also, or you're like, I just kind of like Bad Bunny.
God, we have to go over that again. Yes, we were kind of in the gym and we were talking about, we're working out and we're talking about like our style. I guess she was like, "Well, do you think we're gonna look good when we go out together?" And I was like, "Yes." And then she was like, "But I mean, like, what's your style? Like, how do you like to dress?" And I was just like. I dress like Bad Bunny, like, or I try to, you know what I'm saying? But like, I just wanted to describe like, sometimes I pull up wearing like, like, I do kind of try to want
dress pants, nice shirt,
yeah, like a
matching outfit.
I might want to, yeah. I definitely aspire to dress like like Conor McGregor, like trying to think of like boxers. I like how because I want to dress like hip hop. I want to dress like culture. So in my mind, there's like a threshold for where like that line is, and I want to like play with that line. And sometimes I want to pull up just like fleeked out, like pushing the nature of what style is right now. Like that's my role in society. And then that was kind of hard to explain to her in that moment too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like Bad Bunny does. Like, doesn't he push the line of what's
The cultural envelope.
Yeah, like I aspire to do that. Was like kind of what I wanted to communicate.
Could have been misconstrued, but kind of led to this question of how much humility you got with this Bad Bunny dressing you be doing.
Yeah, and I think she was just like, I feel this thing, and I don't really have a lot of like things to point to describe this thing I feel, but like that's one of them for sure. And I was like, it was a difficult question to contend with. It kind of stumped me a little bit, and I feel like it's probably good to get stumped, or like good to not be, or to be, because I was like had to be vulnerable in that moment, be like like contend with my axioms like right in front of her.
And I think that shows a genuine, authentic, I guess, nature and all your prior responses as well, and all your responses going forward. It's like, okay, he's not just telling me what I want to hear. He's like truly formulating sentences based off of his like beliefs and processing of the question and like what he really thinks. And this particular question, I'm like some not disconnect, but
yeah, because
stumbling a little bit over the ideas.
Part of me felt like the answer what she kind of wanted to hear was like that I lived a super humble life, and like I don't know. There's probably
again, my question to that earlier was what does that look like exactly? So that's another question for sure.
That's one I should have asked. That's a genius thing. That was a genius moment we lost. But Justin's great about like define it. Like what do you mean when you say humility in this context? Like what are you describing? So I can like understand what you're asking and then like figure it out too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, whenever someone says anything, it's like trying to double click the word in the text, the word in the sentence. You're like, okay, whenever you said this thing, what do you mean by this thing exactly? We could like open that up again, and then like I'll take that information, and, like then I'll be able to hopefully give you a more accurate answer.
Yeah, but it was also a fair question. I was like, you know.
I think humility is important. You need to balance it though with like, because I'm in the lost episode, in the lost portion, mentioned Kawhi Leonard or like people of that nature. Like someone who's like quiet. I would consider him a humble NBA player. He's not like super braggadocious, not like super talking shit and like getting into crazy technical foul trouble,
he's
crazy reactionally emotional. Yeah.
He's criticized for being so quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen A said he was the worst superstar in the last 10 years. Like the most I think he was the most dislikable superstar in the last 10 years.
I can see that.
And I was like, don't spin that narrative. No, don't spin that narrative. You know what I'm saying? You see what they'll do to him?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy,
for
bro.
What? For being super quiet?
For chipping on their bitch ass and not being on the news or not being on the gram about it? I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I would rather act like that versus the opposite, than the alternative.
Dylan Brooks?
Super wilding out and like, talking a whole bunch of shit and then having to dip out before the media arrives because you don't want to answer their questions because you're super embarrassed.
Because you can't stand on it?
Because you're embarrassed.
Because you can't stand on it?
Because the narrative you created was not true and you're embarrassed. The harder thing would have been to just say, I'm wrong and I'm embarrassed. You would have gotten so much more respect from everyone.
Yes, but what is he going to say? I
don't think he's ever going to be on the Grizzlies again.
They said, you see that headline?
What?
It's like he's been cut and they did not re-sign him and have no intention of bringing him back. That was the official statement.
I think that's what I saw. Yeah.
No intention of bringing him back. That's a polite way of saying get the fuck out of Memphis.
You never come back to Memphis, bitch.
You're not good at Memphis for a bit, dog. At least lay low. I mean, like shit. I'm sure Dylan Brooks is good anywhere he goes. I ain't hating on that guy because Lord knows if he pulls up on LeBron, he might pull up on me.
No, but of course, but Memphis is cutting ties.
Yeah, the organization.
Yeah, what the hell? That's kind of rare.
It's just like, man, it's just so tough.
We're cutting you, and you're not welcome.
It depends. What I would need more context before I made a true judgment. Like, were people in his camp telling him to chill out, and he was just like, "Hey, fuck y'all too." Like, I'm gonna like. How many times did he double down and then lose and then and how much?
Maybe yeah.
Like, if you were in charge and all of that happened, and you were kind of on his side, but then he dipped out of the media and didn't do the questions at the end, and you were like, "Is this guy a bitch?" Like, I could just see you potentially being like, no, I'm done. We're going to move on from that.
We're cutting that guy.
Yeah,
he's
like,
done.
We'll trade him or something, but like...
that energy is not welcome out here.
I'd like to dissociate from that.
It was disruptive for the sake of being disruptive, and he wasn't even like bold enough to truly stand on it. And they definitely got outperformed. They got beat by 40 in that last game. We're talking about the Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies. Dylan Brooks, one of the players on the Grizzlies, talking a lot of shit about LeBron. They ended up getting their ass kicked the last game. He dipped out of the game, tried to get out of the locker room before the media had arrived to answer their questions because he was talking so much shit, and then they got their ass destroyed.
It's also part of the culture. Like as a player, like if you're a superstar on a team, like you address the media, like that's part of your role. And then like, dude, yeah, you had to answer for all that shit. It was your time. Like you had to.
You signed off on all of that.
And how many times?
You rather hear the question you about the things you signed off on, and you're nowhere to be found. You're my. How convenient, and Mr. Brooks.
Our standard for NBA behavior is Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan every time was like, "They beat us. They beat us. We have to go
shake their hand."
Yep, I'm gonna shake their hand. I'm gonna tell them congratulations, and I hope you do well. I hope you win because that means I lost to the winner. And like true competitor, sportsman. That's what we talked about too.
Yeah, I lost. I lost to the person that everybody lost to.
Yeah, I can take solace in that to some degree.
Yeah.
So I wish you well.
Do your best. Yeah, being a true sportsman.
But
we're talking about humility and Kawhi Leonard because that man has that humility and that like very quiet nature about him. But also, you need to have that killer. You need to be that killer. You need to have that confidence that I'm going to take the last shot and I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it, no matter what. I don't give a fuck. I'm going in.
Especially if you're the person that people need buckets out of.
Yeah,
like Kawhi.
If that's your role. That's part of the role of the character that you play on this team. In the story of this team, this franchise.
You better get good at it. You better dive into that shit, cuz, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
And part of that is having that, man, part of that is having this kind of like absurd confidence that like, I understand like, how confident do you think like Tom Brady is?
Mm.
Like, how confident do you think, like, how arrogant is Cristiano Ronaldo? How arrogant am I for like bringing them up in this conversation right now? But I'm just saying that to say like,
I'm getting mad on you. I'm getting mad at you.
I aspire to have these things in my life. Like, I think the thing that I told her that pulled me out of the tailspin, I remember now.
Okay.
Was I was like, I aspire to compete with. I guess like part of it is only myself, but I aspire to compete with the legends. Like, I want to be the best of the best. Like, I think that maybe even David Goggins said joining the Navy SEALs is not where the best. He didn't find the best of the best there, like he thought he would. Mm. And like, so whatever that guy, David Goggins, was looking for when he went to the Navy SEALs, I'm trying to compete with that bracket of people. And like, I define that as Cristiano Ronaldo or whoever the fuck the first person I said was. But
Tom
Brady. Like, I want to put myself on their level of thinking. Like, why not us? Why can't we be that sharp?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
it's obviously achievable.
Right.
It exists right now.
And then also, but like, I think you can look at someone that thinks like that or someone that has that mind versus like how they treat people. And I think that that's a balance that's like important. Just because, like, I'm ready to go to war in my own mind because I'm going to war with my body, because I'm going to war with my own mind, my own psyche to try to become the better me.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't mean that I'm not willing to like be like a loving, humble person, like in public
be gentle
spaces.
And offer a helping hand.
Yeah.
Be kind.
I want to be that person too.
And be giving, be generous.
Yeah, like I love people. Like I genuinely love, like as much as I can. Like
that's part of living a humble life,
right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
So that.
Fuck yeah.
So in describing like when I was like,
that was very humble.
You know what I'm talking about?
Give me something that.
Come
Let's
on,
go.
Man. Come on, boo. Come on. Oh, no. What's up, dog? For you too. Go. I was still on the date metaphor right here.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I wish you were there for my date metaphor.
Sorry to interrupt.
That'd be sick. That'd be sick if I could be like, and you were like, Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I was like an earpiece.
No, of course, I'm happy to be on my own. I don't actually, but that's probably tropotypical. I was happy to be out there because it felt good to be me. But whenever I was talking about, just like, and I like for you too, if you're like, we're kind of engaging each other like potential partners in this moment, or potential partners in this moment, that like I aspire that for you too. Like I want us to compete with like the top tier of people, like, and the only way you get there is competing with yourself every day. Like that's part of understanding that thing, is that the only people that are going to actually get to that like highest level of human achievement process, that they have to compete with only themselves every day. And that's how like you would get like out of the bucket full of crabs, or how the cream rises to the top.
How you would ascend to the realm where the ability to have nice things is not so impossible. It's every day.
And
like, but not for the sake of having them.
right,
You
right.
know? Yeah.
It's
Like,
not.
not the sake of material things or tangible objects.
Yes, definitely.
It's like now, yeah, but for the metaphysical things underneath it, that's like these tangible objects are a result of all that hard work that we're about, and all that discipline that we're about, and all the trusting in God that we do, and He gives us these blessings. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love my blessings, baby.
I want to share them with you.
I want to share them with everybody.
I want to help like cultivate your blessings. Like I want this to look like this for
please.
you as
Yes,
well.
Please.
Like will you be vulnerable enough with me to tell me what you want, even if it feels like maybe that's like a reach for you, or like if you're afraid to ask for it, like don't be afraid to ask for it with me. Like let's like build our mission around like, is that fair? Like what do we want? Like we could have anything.
Yeah,
you know?
let's work hard to deserve the nicest things that we can need.
Yeah. So then whenever I was on that level, I was like, whoo, and then I kind of like popped back up and I was playing defense again.
Back in it, baby. Back in it with it.
Scary moment though.
Yeah, so we were talking about that on the
But-
last episode.
And then we also, last thing to wrap it up, we talked about how important honesty is. And it was so cool to be that honest, to be in that moment, be like, I need a reference to like David Goggins for you, and I need to like talk about like Tom Brady and Cristiano Ronaldo with you, because like my reference point for what like humility and humbleness and confidence, like what the ratio of balance for all of that is. Like
I see it play out in these stories over here.
and then like in that moment, like that's my truest, like that was so my truest self. That's just so how I literally think. So like in that moment, not only did she like see like what I have to say, but also like how I think. And I feel like that was just if I were to continue to pursue a partnership with her, it'd be nice to be like understood in that capacity, instead of just like telling her whatever the fuck I thought she wanted to hear. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah. Or I think I mentioned that as well, like being honest, because she was able to see that like you were answering, and then you were able to like not stumble, but she asked a question that you had to like think about.
Yeah.
And it could because you weren't just trying to mouthpiece say what you think she wanted to hear.
Right.
It's just like, oh, that's genuine, and that's important for a relationship to build on that.
Yeah.
You need to be able to build narrative with this person.
Yes.
Offer your true narrative, your true perspective of what your narrative is.
I mean, that's what I want. I also sometimes I think about like, I don't know that I don't know what girls want. I don't know like
who the fuck does?
Do they? No.
They want
do you know what you want?
They want someone reliable, generous, someone relatively high in the hierarchy, and I guess to get to the high to rise in the hierarchy, you need to be somewhat generous, competent, reliable, as I mentioned, and I'm sure a couple other characteristics. They want something like that, probably in a very broad sense,
Like loving,
like everybody.
caring, sharp edge. Like I think those are things like that have been outlined to
I'm
me.
sure they want partners who are similar, who offer or who are overlapping characteristics with partners that we want. You know, we being men. So I'm sure there's some similarities there in so far as the question, what do women want? What were you saying that about?
Yeah, I don't want to pretend to know too much. I don't. Yeah.
That's all I know.
but yeah.
Do I know though?
When I said when I meant in that capacity of like I don't know what girls want. Sometimes like it's like, what do you want a partner for? It's like, do you want like, for me, like what partnership is like, I kind of want to like know you like that, and I want you to know me like that, and then I want to like I'd like your help on my mission, because like I want to have partnership with you, and I'd like it if you were there for me when I like needed support with what I'm doing, and I also want to offer support back, and like I'd like to be locked in on a level where we like what we're doing is trying to accomplish these goals together, and then but I don't. I realize that like sometimes girls in a relationship, like I don't even know if they really want partnership on that level, or if they don't want to just have like someone to come home to, but they kind of want to like still be in their own world doing their own thing.
I want to say, you're more like intertwining our goals together, and you're saying, some people might just want to have like, in like, I guess a joint individuality.
Yes. Right. And I think I'm not saying there's anything.
Both.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. You know,
you need to be your own person. You need to be a strong individual.
Yes, I agree with that to the max.
Two strong individuals, for sure, to make a strong relationship.
Yes, that's super truth, and I think that's part about being like honest and authentic with that girl is like, I'm trying to do these things over here, and it's so important to me that like this will not work if this relationship can't like, you know what I'm saying, like exist within the realm that that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
And then because she knew who she was too, I felt like she was like, yeah, it's the same on this side. Like, I'm doing these things. This is who I am. Like, I'm not willing to change any of that. And I was like, yeah, I'd rather just say, like, let's not see each other. And then she was like, oh, that's tight. Like, same. I appreciate you not being like overly attached to the idea of like being with each other, especially because I'm like, it just like, she was like, oh, emotional maturity. That's tight. And I was like, yeah, for sure.
Nice.
I'm legitimately invested in who I am to the point where I would not like throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Let's go.
but then there's a bitch inside of me that at some point, if I wasn't so emotionally mature, would have been like, oh, I'll say anything to get laid right now. Like,
or to get in your good graces.
yes, like the proper answer to that question from like a point of view, it might not have been like, oh yeah, I'm willing to walk away from this right now. Like, I don't know what I would have said, but because I was like more resolute in like who I am now, it was easy to just like say that and then have it be accepted. It was just like so crazy. It was like, oh, the truth is so valuable.
Nice.
Like, knowing who you are is so valuable. I can just be like, this is what I'm doing. And like, she was like, oh, that's attractive. That's what I'm looking for. I was like, oh, nice. I didn't deter you at all. That's fucking tight.
Awesome.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
So adult dating's crazy.
The ability to intermingle your lives. Yeah, you're like, I'm doing these things, and the person's like, okay, well, I'm doing these things too. And like, there's like meta things underneath the things that you're actually doing day to day, like where you work and whatever. But it's like, I'm about these core values, I guess. You know, and it's like, okay, well, like my core values and your core values kind of intermingle. So I'm sure like over time we could like find a way to like cultivate like our individualities, but like together. You know?
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's so well verbalized. I guess this is the problem is that it was cool because this girl lifted weights like crazy. So we already had a connection of like
Importante.
being hard people. Like there was like
we share that value, discipline.
yes. And also like pushing ourselves like extremely. We weren't working out soft. We were doing like a hard ass workout.
We're going ham.
And then like we were both kind of just like, I think that was kind of what. So I need a culture of that within my relationship to a degree. I need a culture of like we're doing extra reps. Like we're working hard. We're fucking going insane. Like I need that to kind of be the narrative in the relationship, or at least it's going to be the narrative that that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I to a degree,
we work hard.
Yeah, I need to build my life around the fact that that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't, then like
hard work pays off. Okay. Build life, move with that.
Move with that, right? But if you don't build a life or an ecosystem or a sustainable foundation to support that thing, then it's like untenable. It's unmanageable. Like it's so hard you can't build a skyscraper without having that foundation. It just falls over. And so like, and I've been in relationships where that's like, I'm like, I go crazy. And then they're like, okay. And then like 6 months into me going crazy, they're like, you kind of go crazy. And I'm like, yeah, yes. So I told you. And then it's like, I kind of need to like reinvest. I think probably a lot of people go through like reinvesting more energy and time into the relationship because like perhaps you were locked into like a thing or a season of life or something that happened or whatever you were doing. And like that's a natural flow of energy, I think, sometimes in like relationship maturity. But those relationships were unsustainable because it was like I needed to keep going. I wasn't even close to how much energy I needed to exert into all of this at that point in time. And so like those relationships didn't work out, which makes me be on a date now and be like, I'm not stopping for anything. So like if you're not with that, then like it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It has to like support that or not. You don't have to support that, but our relationship has to like be agreeable with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah, it's crucial. That's crucial. So you're talking about that last time. Talking about humility, or not last time, but in the lost portion. Man, what else were we talking about in that portion? We're talking about the millennials and such, getting ready to daylight savings time. Talking about the humility.
I think we got it covered.
That's virtually that's a good portion of it for sure. And on the same vein as humility, on a quick side note, also giving it up to God, you know, because like that's like one of the first things that like people do in like a lot of awards like situations, like where people are winning awards or winning the gold or winning the whatever. Like, and like Tyson Fury, whenever he won that fight, like the heavyweight fight. Yeah.
What did he say? What did he say?
I forget what he said exactly, but he's like, I want to thank the one true leader, Jesus Christ.
Beautiful.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I think that's a very integral part of what I consider to be humility, because that's another thing. If someone's like, are you being a humble person? It's like, well, what do you define humility or being a humble person to be?
Yeah, no, I think I'm like extremely
That's
lucky.
part of it in my interpretation for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
back, look what I've done.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I don't know if I've done any of this really.
Yeah.
I kind of have, but like, I don't know. It's
think-
like a give and take here. I'm not 100%. It's a whole thing.
I think anybody that's like built or like finds themselves in a really nice situation or like their life is going well, I feel like that there's the battle of like you like maybe part of you wants to take ownership of like look what I've done, but like also like you didn't do any of that. Like it could have gone a billion different ways. Like you're so I tell myself like I'm so lucky because I like that affirmation. I like just like I'm blessed. Like same thing as saying I'm blessed. Like I'm blessed or I'm lucky because like a lot of things have to swing the right way for things to turn out the way that they are, and I'm so thankful for the way that they are.
Absolutely. And I guess the idea of people falling into the emotion of like, look what I've done is like, because I guess it does, there are choices, there are decisions and things that you have to do. You have to do the work. You have to show up. You have to do the shit and plot and scheme and like forecast and then try and then run the experiment and then get your results and then forecast again and then run a different experiment slightly adjusted and maintain that process a whole bunch. So it's like you do have to do the work yourself. So I can see where people are like, look what I've done. But like at the same time, I think it's like, well, I think there's a greater power that allows you to do those things and make those decisions and come to those conclusions and do these things, like a precursor to the actual work that you have to do. But I do see it.
Beautiful. It's true. I think that's that's kind of the question. Are you humble? It's like with all those things being true, do you still like give it up to a higher power, or are you still like willing to accept and agree that this is kind of all of this is out of our hands to some degree? Because you also have to, as a relationship and as a partner, you have to contend life together. You have to contend the world together. It's like
all the unknown of random chaos.
Yeah, and all
your shit and all your ties, everything you're tied to, because you could like see an individual, but you don't see all their social ties, all their familial ties, the ties to all their job obligations and all their past and all that. Yeah. You don't see any of it.
No. But also that...
So you have to fight all that together like while you're moving forward, Happens all the time.
That's tropotypical in stories too. Man. Yeah, relationships are beautiful.
Beautiful. So that was an update on some of the stuff we wanted to talk about in episode 9, but didn't have the wherewithal to get to it. So we got to it now.
Yes.
So that's
trying to stay true to our word to you.
Staying true on that.
Speaking of things we wanted to talk about, I know my good friend Justin has been doing a great job of opening his mind.
That's me.
Learning a whole new language.
Expanding my brain.
A lot of people...
And my mind, both of them.
I think a lot of people say at themselves some point in their life, I'm going to learn a new language. And a lot of those people probably fall off very quickly.
Everyone has the ability to learn a new language. Because you learn one, you have at least one.
Flowers to Justin. He's doing incredibly well. Everyone's super proud of him. He's doing great.
Appreciate it, man.
I believe you had a revelation you want to talk to us about it.
Yeah, there was a couple things, a couple ideas that I wanted to kick around with the learning Spanish idea. I guess one of them I wanted to talk about was there's a couple of differences in there's like a lot of subtle differences in Spanish, and I don't know, it's cool. It's cool like learning how a language is constructed and like how they use it and their ability to communicate and like the ideas that they're trying to communicate. And like one thing I guess I wanted to kick around was the idea of like estoy and soy, of like I am. Like estoy aquí is like I am here, like right now. You and I, like estoy aquí, like I'm here. But like soy is like soy de California, like I am from California. Estoy is like more temporary and soy is like more permanent. And like I love one of the examples that our guy gave us in like our little audiobook. He was like, so if I say like estoy borracho, I think that was like I'm drunk. But like if you say like soy borracho, it's like I'm an alcoholic. It's a little different, like subtle differences, but like someone in Mexico might find that a little funny. Or like,
that's funny.
Like, yeah, so I was like, oh, that's hilarious. I get it now, guy. So I understand what you're talking about for sure. I understand the difference between those two. But and like I think that happened in our life because it was like estoy, like I was like we were rapping, like we were just like rapping, and we were people who like talked, and I was like soy. Like I am, like what I'm saying, like for real, like developed the like it's part of my nature now. It was something I'm doing, but now it's like part of who I am. I think I also went with that like insofar as I guess my revelation was about us making the music and stuff. Like I am a rapper, like I am a podcaster, and I guess also even before that it was like I am someone who works out. Like it was like someone like I was kind of like being a fool, not knowing what I was doing, trying to figure out the idea of working out and nutrition and lifting weights. And then like after doing that for long enough, it like became the soy. It became like the part of me now. I was like, oh, I am this thing. I am someone who does like these things for real. Really about that life. Like that's a little difference in the verbiage.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like, man, yeah, Spanish is crazy.
That's crazy.
It's cool.
And it opens your mind. That's what I be telling these people, bro. Is that learning another language is like working out is tight because it opens your mind. And I feel like learning another language, you can view it the same way. Like it's gonna open your mind that same way.
Yeah,
as well as
viewing different things that I've been talking about.
Fucking tight, dude.
Yeah, and also in
and I feel that cementing too. Like just over the last 6 to 8 months, like I kind of was telling you the other day, like I don't feel like I'm the same person I was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I remember saying that.
But it was just like kind of hard to describe exactly what I meant. But just like my decision making, like the añejo to me,
the perspective is a little different now.
Yeah, the perspective is different, and I've seen things play out. So okay. It was like I had to learn like these things about life, and like I learned like what I thought it would take for me to be like my best self, more or less. But I just wasn't like. Now I have like I guess you could call it discipline, but I feel like it's just maturity. Maturity grabbed all those loops and then like tied them together, and now like my decision making and like how I view like time and how I like invest myself, and like. It's really just decision making. It's just so different. It's so different. And then the results of that playing out over a 6-month span, just so different. Also, working where we work kind of opened up my mind. Like you used to say, it tears away the veil of nice things. It's like the veil of nice things has been torn away for just so long. That like
expensive things.
What is formality?
Yeah. Yeah, nice things. I guess, because we're in the restaurant industry, so nice expensive wines, expensive liquors. Crazy food, crazy nice looking things, just a beautiful ambiance and environment. People coming in looking nice, like trying to like bring that out of themselves, so they dress themselves up to that. You know, it's like they wear their Sunday best. maybe like their Saturday best. You know, they're going to the club.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I have to bleep that. Damn it!
What do you mean?
That's okay. I think I said the place of employment.
Oh,
that's all right.
Ticker.
Ding.
But
around an hour or so. Hour and a half. But yeah. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing to veil the nice things. But what were we talking about before that?
Just the cementing of
oh yeah, in Spanish.
Yeah, from estoy to soy.
Yeah, the cementing of whatever it is that you like that you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a real thing. That's a real thing that I've kind of was thinking about. And then also there was another thing I guess I wanted to mention real quick. I guess we have a little bit of time, but we have some time. The idea that there's also a masculine and a feminine, like la, like anything like things that end in a are feminine, and then things that end in o are like masculine, or that don't end in a are masculine, and like that's just like part of the whole like language, you know, and. Like, it's funny because also, like, with La Luna is the moon, and that's, like, La Luna with the A, so that's feminine, and then El Sol is the sun, and that's no A, so masculine. And then, like, kind of, I remember, like, having that realization with Spanish also kind of cemented another thought that I had because I talked to the sun on one of my super mega multivitamin trips. I remember talking to you about that a long time ago. And, like, it was, like, a nice... February day. I remember sometime in February, so it was a nice cool kind of afternoon. And wearing a hoodie and like shorts outside. The sun's nice sunny day, a slight breeze. I was like, oh, okay, this is like cool, but like not cold and like definitely not warm by any degree or not hot by any degree. And the warmth of the sun is enough to blanket you through this slight breeze. It's a beautiful day outside. I remember feeling that. And then like feeling that like through and feeling the sun's rays through some of the shaking, moving trees in the breeze. And I was just like, man, the sun feels so good. Thank you. And the sun responded. It's like, no problem. I was like, oh, what? Hello? But yeah, more or less the same way I'm having a conversation with you. And like, I can obviously hear when you respond to me. It felt like that. I was like, oh, what? It's like, okay, thanks. Thanks, man. That's awesome. And one of the, I can't remember the entirety of the conversation, but one of the couple of the nuggets were like just the sun, and it was a he. I want to say he for sure because he was talking to me, and that's just like the energy I got from it, and it makes sense that like El Sol is masculine, like for the like Spanish, just like the literal Spanish masculine and feminine aspects. But it made sense to me at the moment that it was a man. It was just I understood or masculine energy.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, man, don't worry. Like the same way that I'm warming you up right now, and like it feels like awesome. Like I do that for everyone, like all the time, always. So even when I'm not like right here, I'm always like the world's just rotating, and I'm just always just providing the sun for everyone who needs it, for everything to keep going, I guess." And I was like, "Man, that's crazy." He's like, "Yeah, and all you gotta do is you just have to worry about you. I'm doing all of that, and like you just gotta worry about you." I was like, "Oh." It's like relieving. I just like relax in that thought, that realization, like that truth of like, oh man, all I have to do is worry about like my person, my soul that's in this body right here, this thing. This is me. This is it. This is all I got to worry about. I just got to make sure that this thing is doing its best and growing and flourishing and thriving and,
Even when it feels like a lot, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
The sun does everything all the time.
All the time. And I was like, man, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, I feel like that partially inspired the bar and Limit Break where you're like, I ain't from the moon, I'm from the sun, bitch.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite parts of that song.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember, I think you had also mentioned that you had like a similar conversation with like the moon at one point, and you said that you felt like feminine energy.
Yeah, I did. That's so crazy. Yes. That was it was the first time I ever took multi-mega vitamins. And I did a heroic dose, which is, just a good, the proper amount to have like the proper hallucinogenic experience, in my opinion.
Being a hero, son.
It's a lot. It's a lot for your first time.
Superhero,
Yeah. But it was perfect. Like, it was perfect vibe, perfect place, perfect time. It was nighttime. And I remember I was just like struggling with the thought of like who I wanted to be in the world and like this like athlete that I am. And like how I was like running out of time to like integrate it into like a career. And I was like, what am I gonna do like with myself? I don't know. Like I'm afraid to like this is all I want. This is all I fucking want. I don't want to give it up. I don't want to sacrifice. I don't want to like do something that I don't love this much.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like the moon kind of like was just like there. I was like laying down on a picnic
bench. This is all like internalized dialogue between you and yourself.
Yeah. I'm laying down on a picnic bench, looking up at the stars and the moon, and like listening to like Mozart music, and I was just like contemplating like this.
Love it.
It was perfect. And I had like not like a couple things that I wanted to like address or I guess like that arose to my conscious while I was in this state, and I could feel like I'll get to those ones later, but I'm like thinking about this right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what am I gonna do about this? And then like the way that it felt like the moon was like, oh man, it's so crazy. The moon was like, you want to be a wolf. And I was like, it's exactly what I want. And I was like I'm willing to like let that go for what like is for what I am, like what is for me. I'm willing to let go of like what I want to be for what is for me. Like I'm willing to do that. And then in that moment, the moon was like, you're a dog. And I was like, but like in that moment of contemplation, it was like, I was like, it felt right. It felt like, and I was like, okay. And it was like a wolf or a dog is a wolf. But your like frame of constraint for what you wanted to be so bad wouldn't allow you to be what you are. And what you are is what you want to be. But your wanting stopped the amness because of what your perception of what a dog and a wolf was in that given moment. And I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. That's crazy. Okay. And then, like, on that same trip, my partner that I was dating at the time, like, perceived herself to be like a mother wolf in her own trip, in her own lane. And I was completely just like completely separate from that like talk with the moon that I had, and it felt like this like a feminine energy was like kind of like coaxing me through that. Was like, sweet baby boy, like relax, like let go of what you want for a second, just let go of it for like a second so you can feel what you are, and then like then the next thing that kind of hit me was like bringing it back into my actual life, which was like I think like it makes like I can let go of being this athlete to be like a musician. But I think like what I want to be is like an entertainer, a performer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like
Facts.
your stage for like what you could have reached as an athlete versus what you can reach as a musician. Like I'm telling you, be what you are and let go of what you want and be a musician. And I was like, okay, like I accept this. I accept you put it like it was like a parable. It's like here's the archetypical meta story. Here's your life. Are you willing to make the transformation? And I was like, yes, I am. And that was from the Lady Moon.
Beautiful. Beautiful, man. That
Well,
was
I'm a fucking wool shirt.
Wolves, baby.
Crazy.
Shout out. Big Sean. And that was years ago.
23,
Years ago when you were, years ago.
like 5 or 6 years ago.
Years ago. And then around the time whenever we decided to be artists.
Yeah.
I'm like, but let's pursue that for real. Let's do this.
Yeah, it was weighing on me, you know? Like
Mhm.
it collided with me. Like
Yeah, you wanted to be an athlete.
yeah, for like my whole life. That's all I wanted.
And that was partially what that was, that
Because
vitamin trip was trying to tell you.
yeah, it was. I knew you must contend with this, sir. Like your spirit is kind
Contend.
of your spirit's withering away because you haven't made this realization yet.
Mm.
Like you're still stuck. Like your track's gonna skip, and when your track is skipping because you're not like bridging the gap, then like the flood will hit. It's like you can't take another flood. I think that was after my surgery. So I'd like already been like trying to negotiate and reconcile with these things like up to that point. It's like then it finally like, yeah. That's how I know that like multi mega vitamins are like
That's crazy.
good for you to a degree, you know?
Definitely help, I think, iron out some of the wrinkles of your perceptions,
Yeah. 100%.
you know? Yeah, that was crazy. So yeah, I think that in Spanish, having La Luna and El Sol are like appropriate. Masculine and feminine.
It makes sense based on what my interpretation of what's
My
going on.
experience,
Yeah.
whenever my true naked experience of just being a person
Yeah.
and feeling and talking to the sun, I was like, oh wow, you're like a guy. That's crazy. You have a whole job to do. I have a job to do. My mind's like, I'm just one person at like the 7 point whatever billion that he's got to warm. Crazy perspective.
It is crazy perspective. Sometimes I think like I went through a period in life where I had to learn how to like make my energy go nuclear and make like more out of less basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like one of the things that helped me think about that was the sun, like a collapsing star that creates enough energy to warm the entire earth, like everything all the time for like millions of years. I don't know how long it's going to go for, but I was like, I think you can do that inside your own spirit. Like you can like maturation or añejo, part of what it was for me is like I stretched this thing out, and then like the only way to make it go bigger was to like smash the atoms and make it go like nuclear. And it was like just exist like how do you feed off the fast? You know that expression?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna feed off the fast. Like or I'm gonna like it's like embracing the suck.
Yeah.
It's like loving in the trench. It's like loving in the pain. It's like that's how you go nuclear. It's like being able to love everybody no matter like how much it hurts. Or being able to like I don't know. Just like and just like
Goggins mode.
Yeah. Like
As a second wind.
every time it hurts, it makes you give more. I think that's the nuclear equation. It's like all of the negative emotion in inspires more positive emotion out. And then that's how you go from just being like a 1.0 amount of energy to like nuclear. Now you can do 10, 100, 10,000 because every time you're pressed downward, you come upward now. And I think that's how you like
I think being pressed downward is the default of life too, you know?
so you're just you can be sun-esque in that sense, I think.
Uh-huh.
Or at least that's how I conceptualize that theory in my mind.
Beautiful.
Man, we're in there, but we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, we got a good 5 or so left, probably.
Potted for like
Yeah,
2 fucking hours, man.
Yeah, we had a big old potty, man. I'm sorry. That was a whole thing. We just lost that potty. We lost it.
I feel like we apologized all episode.
Yeah.
We're trying to make up for lost time over here.
I mean, we touched on the things. We definitely touched on what you want to talk about with the updates on the relationship realm.
Yeah, we felt like we left a cliffhanger there. Everybody's like, "Man, he's got updates."
Like, oh shit, updates! They wanted to talk about them. They didn't get to them. Uh-oh.
I just wanted to bring up I wanted to bring up the interview process that like I was like
On the date.
Yeah, I was like, gentlemen, if you've ever just found yourself in the hot seat, been there. That happens. But also, yeah, I want to talk about getting shook up. I want to talk about that because it was like a moment. I just want to be honest with my podcast.
It's important. You need to be honest with people and your partners.
Yeah.
Everybody.
But other than that, you got anything fresh on your mind and your heart? Any bits you want to dive into right now? Something exclusive to this podcast?
I guess a couple things. I guess maybe we could tease for next time. But I guess there's a couple of Netflix things that we watch Netflix. We have a couple of running shows that we watch like week to week. But then also we have to like have like fillers. Where we have to have like some stuff to watch every night whenever the stuff that's dropping week to week isn't out yet, and in between those times. So we've been watching a couple of different Netflix series. There's one that we watched that was The Night Agent. That one's dope. It's like a government conspiracy kind of. Not mystery show, but kind of like a thriller, suspenseful, and like it's really cool. It's really funny because one aspect I definitely want to mention of the show is like all you gotta do is watch the first episode, and it's like they wrote the first episode. They wrote the whole series. I'm assuming, like knowing that they had to write the first episode to be super gripping. It's like the first 20 or 30 minutes is like action is hell. It's like oh shit, oh shit. Oh shit! Oh shit!
This creates like a bunch of plot lines.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of shit just popping off. It's just
that's
like
tight. That's tight.
It's like if I were to write a show, that's exactly what I would do. Like, exactly what I would do for the first episode.
That's tight.
It's cool. That. Yeah. So the Night Agent, it's kind of good. I would give it a solid 7.
Solid 7.
Solid 7. Worth the watch.
Just like Cristiano on the arrogance scale.
Yeah. Worth the watch. And then we also watched Beef. I want to dive into that more, so probably next time. There's a whole bunch of ideas I want to talk about in that one. But The Night Agent is a lot more just like kind of straightforward.
Goodness. I don't even want to open my mind to that energy.
Yeah.
Beef. What's that? What's the show
about? Have you seen it?
I've heard about it.
It's, I think it has the guy from The Walking Dead, Glenn, or I forget his name. Glenn,
he's a tool, right? Oh, no, not that guy. I was thinking about the other guy. That guy's cool.
Yeah, the Asian guy?
Yeah, he's tight.
And then Amy, or I forget her name right now.
That's cool.
But I think she's a comedian.
Flowers.
I want to say. Wong, I think is her last name. But it's a good show. It's I think like 10 episodes. It's solid, but it's like predicated on like one instance. I think it shows you this in the previews. But the instance is like a road rage, more or less. And the road rage escalates so much so to like this guy's like chasing this unknown driver like through the streets. It's like come here, motherfucker. Like it's escalated road rage, and then it goes into the idea of like how like people are crazy, man. You gotta watch out for people, man. Like how could someone do that? Like how could someone escalate that much? How could people be tripping that hard about just whatever's going on? What's going on with that? And then it kind of dives into that idea of like this one isolated incident, and then the two main characters who share that incident together. It goes into like their backstories of like who they are and why they're this way, and like it's kind of good. It's pretty good, solid.
At the peep
Worth
game.
the watch. Worth the watch.
We can't really promise to watch anything because they're still behind on Life of Pi.
I've seen it.
Sticking to it.
Sticking to it till I die. I have to watch it again though, for real. I'm sure it's good. Oh, man, yeah, any parting words for the folks?
I love you guys.
It's all love. The waters are warm. Hopefully, yeah, your day was brightened. You accomplished your tasks. You learned a little something. You laughed a little bit. You cried a little bit. You want to cry every day? I don't think so. Maybe. Tears of joy.
Maybe not
every day.
Every day would be.
Every once in a good while. A good joyous event. Make it cry.
Yeah.
Hopefully it lasts a little bit today. Had a good day. We're rooting for you.
I think you should laugh every day.
I'm fucking rooting for you, bro.
Get a dub.
Lady,
Get
bro.
your dub. Pray
Rooting
about it,
for
be
you.
about it, get your dub.
Get your dubs. I'm a little hungry. We're going to sign off. Kiss some papas.
Yes. And go to a photo shoot.
Yes. A little teaser. Got the little threeser. Coming on the backside. Got a little photo shoot later on for that. So be on the lookout for that. Those 3 songs, I'm very excited for those. Very, very excited for our next musical endeavors.
Me
so
too.
please be on the lookout.
Hell yes.
Tell your friends. Tell your family. Make more friends and tell them. And tell them to tell their friends.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
If you just became like
Small favor.
My marketing team with your life.
Yes.
I'd love that.
If you could devote your life to me, that'd be awesome. I greatly appreciate it. I can't compensate you with anything aside from gratitude at this very moment. But when I'm on, we're on.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
I love you.
Love you all. Peace.
Bye.
Rolling through the city to the light show. Really ain't no telling where we might go. I just flipped the switch, I'm in my zone. Feelings on my wrist, now